Free birds. This is actually the first animated feature to be created by Real FX. Before this, they mostly did spin-off works like shorts or theme park rides that are based on other big animated films and cartoons, like the Looney Tunes, Ice Age, The Simpsons, Despicable Me, and more. But now that they decided to play with the big boys with their own original property, will it be a movie we will all be thankful for? Or should we go back in time to get this off the menu? Let's find out. The story. Now I know that right off the bat that the entire idea is ridiculous. I mean, we are talking about time-traveling turkeys trying to take out Thanksgiving. Try saying that 10 times fast. But believe it or not, other than that, there's nothing much to it. There's no sense of an actual plot that's driving this movie other than the Thanksgiving mission, which is a big problem because the film seems to confuse a plot with a goal. The goal is what gives the characters purpose to do something, and the plot is everything they do to get to that goal. Of course, they do things to stop Thanksgiving, but they're unrelated with the story. It's literally filled with random gags and a uselessly thrown in romance subplot between Reggie and Jenny. But the worst part would be the ending, which can almost ruin the entire film. I don't want to spoil anything just in case, but let's just say that time-traveling turkeys aren't the stupidest thing in this movie. However, there are a few points I have to give them for. I'll admit that there are times when the humor caught me off guard and it's actually funny. It's mostly dumb Looney Tunes slapstick, and there are some pretty bad ones, sure, but there are also some that did make me laugh. Plus the fact that it does help with the movie's ridiculous nature, feeling like they know their concept is stupid, so they'll play around that. Another thing I liked is the concept of how the turkeys lived during the 17th century. It seems interesting how they would live underground as a native tribe. Other than that though, there are some things happening in the movie, but they don't seem to form a story. The animation. I'm always interested to see some new talent and show me what they got with their animation, but unfortunately for Real Effects, it shows that it's a subpar animation studio. The only way I could describe it is that it's cheap and generic. Like, the design doesn't leave anything new to the imagination. After watching it for a while, it feels like all the turkeys look the same, but with a minor difference, and the places they go to don't look that appealing to be in. It doesn't help either that the forest and the background animation looks poorly made with fake-looking trees and a colorless atmosphere. It's even worse that even the characters mostly have a dull color scheme on them like brown and gray. The character animation is decent in itself, but it should have gone into a more cartoony route with it like Madagascar to fit more with the silly premise. Honestly, other than that, I couldn't think of anything else to say about the animation. And that's the sad part of it. Often, animated films would have one element or one scene with their animation that really stands out and makes the movie memorable. But they haven't done anything special with it at all and just makes it pretty dull to look at the whole way through. It's weird considering that their other works are sometimes visually exciting, but that's not the case with this film. The characters. It's a little weird describing the characters. They're actually pretty well written themselves, but it wasn't executed as well. Let's start off with Reggie, a lonely turkey who wants to find his place. It's interesting to see how he finds it by either being alone or to be with Jenny, but that only happens at a few points in the movie. The rest of the time, it just feels like he's just there to help out on the mission. Same thing can be said about Jake. He's a pretty well-developed character with an interesting backstory about his determination to stop Thanksgiving, but most of the time he's just butting heads with Ranger to show who's got the biggest balls between the two just to fill the movie with slapstick humor. There's Jenny, who's more a love interest to Reggie, but she does show that she could be more than that by being a strong member of her tribe as the daughter of the chief. And then there's Myles Standish, the man who goes out hunting for turkeys for his hungry town bounty hunter style. He's okay as a villain, not really intimidating, but still has a threatening nature, and you know there will be trouble when you see him on screen. Not the best villain I've seen, but decent enough to pass. As for the rest, they're completely irrelevant to the movie. The grand majority of them are just passed on as comedy reliefs, giving out nothing to the plot, nor give out anything memorable about them. Although I will say that some of them are pretty funny, and the ones who do have a bit of a point to the plot only have a few minutes of screen time just to never be heard from again. I can't say that some of these characters are bad. In fact, they're actually pretty good. They're just not handled well. I should have known that this was a dumb movie just by its premise alone. I could honestly see where this film could have been a great comedy, but Free Birds is just a poorly executed movie where even though it can give out some good laughs, it doesn't make up for its empty story, weak animation, bad use of good characters, and a horrible ending. If I have to do a recommendation for this, I say just wait until you can rent it for Thanksgiving. Not to actually watch it though, but just to put it on TV while the whole family's around as background noise and to distract the kids at the same time. I can't believe I have to do this again this year! And this film was actually so close from escaping it too, but it unfortunately earns the AniMat's seal of garbage. You know, the only thing I could say at this point is just please help us, Disney! You're our only hope!